Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. For YouTube viewers, this will also be the weekly outlook. I would go into long-term and short-term because this is my daily webinar for my group. We're in the trading room right now. As a quick reminder, on the 19th, I'll be doing a live course. If you would like to join us, send me a Skype message. The Skype is in the description of all my videos. Send me a Skype message and I'll give you all the details, what and when to do, right? So if you're willing to join us as a group and you want, even if you want to know more about what the group is, send me a message. The group is very active, and regardless of what you think or what you heard of us, we are a very active, vibrant group with very good traders in it. Right now, we're in the trading room, and I'm recording from the trading room. This is one of our Asian sessions that we do every morning. We do a London session, we do a New York session, and we do sessions in between when we update the charts. What I'm giving you for the weekly outlook will need update during the week because most of these patterns are changing as they go along, right? If I tell you it's a buy setup now, maybe by tomorrow it's not a buy setup. And that could be a problem if you're watching the weekly outlook only, right? But if you're watching it on a daily basis, it's different. You can also have my daily charts separate from joining the course itself. If you can pay for the course in installment, which means you can't pay for it right now, but you would like to pay for it in 5 months and 6 months and a year, you can join the installment payment. You will get the course, the daily webinar free. Now, let me explain this because one person said, you can't say it's free if I'm paying. No, you're paying only for the course. You only pay me one time. All my traders have paid me one single time, and that is for a 6 weeks course, and that is for my time for that 6 weeks. You're not buying the course because it's knowledge. You can't pay for knowledge. Knowledge is priceless. And priceless because there's no price to it. Some people will use it to make millions and some people will use it to lose their account. That's why it's priceless, right? Knowledge is priceless. You pay me for my time and you're only paying me for 6 weeks of my time, but you're guaranteed almost to get a lifetime access to the group if you behave properly. What do I mean by that? Don't insult anybody and you'll be in the group forever. Which means you're paying me for 6 weeks, but you're going to have complimentary all the rest of your trading career free to be with an amazing group of traders. So you can't pay me for lifetime. That's just not possible. I don't think any one of you have the cash. If you had the cash to pay me for a lifetime, you wouldn't be watching this video because your interest would be somewhere else. Your interest wouldn't be trading Forex retail. So if you're watching this video, you can't pay me for my lifetime access. That is complimentary. We have had traders in the room for a very, very long period, and they're successful. All right, so let's go. Let's move on and let me start. We're going to start with dollar index. I'll give you the long-term and short-term very quick. Long-term, remember what I told you. We're still expecting this to either take off or come back and break the low. The low is still open until we can confirm that it's taking off. Now, you can see that we've pulled back. I told you we're going to get a correction. We're getting that correction. As of now, it's still a correction. It is a correction until we confirm we're going down. What would confirm? If we get a very big consolidation here this week, we'll probably confirm downside because a big consolidation might give you a big impulse to the downside, and that would literally drop the break this low. If we break out of this here this week and break the top, the likelihood is we're going to go up very strong. That's a very likelihood that we're going to go because this will no longer be a consolidation for downside or a correction for downside. It will probably take off. And that means we're going to go back to this top. So the downside is very short, which means if we get a consolidation, we may just need to break this and then go back up. If not, we'll just go back up from here. This week, we will know that. I'm pretty sure this week we'll know that because there's a lot of consolidation going on. On the 4 hour, you can see, we're coming down, but we're still looking downside. On the 1 hour, yep. This still looks downside. This piece looks up a little here, but right now it still looks downside, but we're still in this impulse, which means this still looks like a bigger correction until we break out of this trend completely. It's not so much this trend. Right, that trend is already getting close. Let's see this piece, what this does. If this goes here, come back here, do this, we'll look for downside. If we get a correction here, we're looking for downside. If this takes off, pull back here and do this, once we break out of this structure, we'll be buying. All right, once we break out of the structure, we look for a correction and we start buying. As of now, it's short-term sell setup. Short-term because we don't know whether it's going to confirm the downside. If they consolidate here the whole week, if we see this end up consolidating here the whole week, Good. That will confirm the downside, and it will be a bigger move. So is it going to be in whole week consolidation? Is it the move upside today, or is it the move the downside today? We'll see. We don't know that, but we know whichever one happens, we know where we're trying to go, and we know what is the next move to happen. So like, there's really no trade setup right now in the chart. We had trade setups when we were selling this down, but there's no trade today. Gold. If we're going to use gold as a way of thinking what the dollar index will do, gold looks downside, because you would remember last week we had this move down. The week before, last week we had this. I was doing the daily webinar when I told you, watch, this is going to go back up. It went back up. This is making a correction here. So I think this would probably go there and come down here. There's a high probability for us to come and break this low. This is just a regular flat pattern. And the probability of this thing coming down is really, really high. Now, there's a rare case of this going up. I doubt it. I think most likely we're going to get a downside, because that's almost a perfect flat. So what we would look for is a sell setup today. Right now, it looks upside, but that is in a lower time frame. That's a 1 hour trade. This could break the top and then drop. We'll be selling. If it goes lower, and I would love if it goes lower, I would even like them to come and break this low here, slowly like this. Because once they break that low, they just confirm the downside for us. Any move to the upside becomes a sell. Not selling from the move, selling from below. Look at that as a flat, and that would be total downside. So I would like this to go down slowly and tag the low, break the low. Because that would just confirm the big trade to the downside, and we'll be trading with all the way back to the low. Now, the low is an impulse. So it's not only going to come back to here, it should break out of this structure. If this is going to be a dollar movement, dollar index will go up. Now, how low can gold go on the higher time frame? I think when it was at the top there, I told you that we're looking for a running flat here. And after we got that running flat, anything is possible. We can go down totally, or we could go make a new high and then come down. It looks like we're heading for the downside totally, which means dollar, if this is an indication, dollar index might totally go. Now, I don't know where this goes totally. I know we're going to get one more impulse here. And if we're lucky, they do this. If we're unlucky, they'd stop there and start going up, which means we will get profit. That's a big trade for us. But once that happens, it could still go up. We will still leave the possibility of upside. Once we make a daily correction, that possibility for upside will be gone. It's starting to look like that possibility for upside is going. So there's more downside. I think one person was saying gold could never go down. Well, you see, never say it can't. It could. Silver, at least one more wave down we were expecting on silver. I would like to see it come at least one more down. At least one more down to this level here. And then there's a higher. Here's where we have one more piece of information. This looks more like a running flat. So this is actually telling us that this possibility is higher for the upside. Gold, we don't know. We know it's going to make one down, and then what happens after we made the down? It could turn and start to go up for a new high, or they could drop. So just getting a little move up on the dollar index would not mean anything as yet, because this one is telling us, this one is almost confirming an up move, because this flat is looking very nice as we go. This is exactly what we thought it would do, and it's doing exactly that. Now, the question is whether it's going to go from here, and this is the running flat. Maybe it's possible, but the way this is looking, it's looking like a consolidation, like the previous ones like these. So I think we could drop one more and then go. Now let's see the hourly pattern. We thought this would drop last week. We actually sold this. It didn't go. We sold this one here. That became a break-even trade. It didn't go. So right now it looks like they're making a flat. See, this had already come back pretty deep. If it goes back up there, we have a nice flat pattern within this impulse, and that's a sell setup, just like gold. Now, this sell setup might just give us a drop totally, or if it just comes here and stop like this and decide to go back up, we'll get this trade, we'll get that sell, we'll get out of the sell, we'll look for a buy. If they come and break this low, good for us. And I hope they go break the low, because once they break the low, that's when I'll start looking for the buy setup. Now, this move is sharp. This move is not so much a correction, right? It's pretty sharp. So there is still a chance that this might start to be a flat in here before we go. Like I said, within the week, these patterns could change. With the pattern we're looking right now is just one more up here, slightly there, and then look for the sell. We're looking for this sell to the downside. How far this go, what happens after that will determine whether it's a big move to the upside or a big move to the downside. But we will get this sell and then we'll manage it. Maybe during the week I'll update you guys Wednesday or so. I'll put an update on the weekly outlook to let you know what we think is happening. Euro. So Euro has the same pattern where they were going up, and I told you we're still in the downside of the Euro, and we could probably make a consolidation here and then go. Well, I think we might be making a consolidation, but not downwards, sideways, and then go there, and then we can come back here. Right? So this might be more of a sideways consolidation. Right? It could come down a little as well, but right now it's not looking like they're trying to come down. It looks like they're trying to go sideways. You can see that. So you've got a drop, you've got to move up, you get a drop. It looks like you're going to get a move up. This looks like it's going to give you one more up here. And then maybe they'll drop again because we know gold and silver is going to go down. So this drop could still be very corrective. So right now there's a move you can buy here. I don't think this will take off. I think we'll stay within some kind of an expanding or running flat pattern before we go. It could start even channel here for a while because it's not this is just one piece of move. We don't have a lot of information to tell you, but it's correcting to the upside. So this, you could get this trade here probably today. We're looking for a buy there, and then we'll see what happens. All right. Pound. Pound is going to go down. It go down. We almost broke the low. I think they broke the low already. If not, they'll break it. They can still go more. I still think it's going to go more because we're getting another consolidation here. See this piece here? Now, you have to be careful. This could be a running flat in here. See this piece here? That 1, 2, 3 down there, that could be some kind of a running flat. We might be in some kind of a long corrective structure going on. I don't like that. This could be the move going down already. We don't have to go back up, but there's no sell setup. If they do go back up here, you have a sell setup, just one move down here. That's all. You don't have a big one because this thing is already in the channel. We have to break out of that channel to prove otherwise. What we can look for this week is don't trade the pound, let it come down to the bottom, trade anything else that has a better setup, and then we look for the buy setup. Right? Let this just drop, and then we look for the buy setup because the buy setup will come. Aussie going sideways. We were looking to whether it's going to be an ending diagonal. That is out. It's not making an ending diagonal. We're making a flat here. We made a move up, and we're literally making a flat here. I think this is going to go one more up there. I don't think it will break out. We'll try to buy it, see if it breaks up, but I don't think it's going to break out because this looks like the most corrective part of that. We can come back down, go back up. We might stay here for a while, and if that happens, we're looking for an up move. Right? This would be 1, 2, 3. This piece here will be all the correction on the Aussie. We'll go with that as all the correction, and this will be upside. We've had patterns like that where they make a big flat and they consolidate at the start before they go. Let me see if I can find that pattern. Here, this one is a contracting flat, but no, that one will not. You do have correction inside of it, but it's not so low. We had one of them where they make a big flat and the correction was right at the bottom before they take off. This had some correction here, but not so much. So this one here is telling us that it's a corrective structure, but it's a corrective structure for upside. See? This piece is literally correcting to go up. So you can pull this 2 lows. You have 2 lows here. Take this out. That was a small correction there. And then you're in the middle of it. See? So at some point, this 1, 2, 3 will have to go back up there. Now we can come and even break the low. That means if they go back up, we're going to get downside. If it doesn't break the low, they will still come here and they can still come back down. You're still going to be within this structure for a while. And I think New Zealand is confirming that because remember I showed you New Zealand pattern. If you remember last week, go back and watch a webinar. We had 1, 2, 3 sharp moves. I told you we're going to watch this down. We're going to watch this up. This might break out. Once we see this, we saw this pattern. We said, okay, they're going to come back one more here and then they're going to break out. Well, they're still not breaking out. So what we have now is a very corrective structure in here. You see 1, 2, 3, and that's in the middle of all the corrections. So we have 1, 2, 3 go back there. This would probably come back to the top here, but then it's going to go down. It's going to come back up. It's going to go down, come back up, and we'll be sideways here for a while before we take off. So in the bigger picture, what that'll be, we can stay here the entire week. What that is going to be is a move up, a 1, 2, 3 up, a big consolidation in here, another 1, 2, 3 up, and then downside. If they stay like that, that is going to be downside. So this is a correction. It's just getting very correct. You see this piece here? That is small compared to what we're getting here. We're getting a big correction in here. Up, down there, and then take off up like this. And if you get something like this, there's a likelihood it's going to go down. But we might stay the whole week in this piece. Might not go anywhere this week. So you can trade it both up and down because we've been doing that in the trading room. We traded this up. We traded that down. I don't think we didn't trade the up move. The up move was too fast. There was no setup. I'm looking for an up move here, and most likely I'll be looking for the downside. All right. If I don't get this, if this doesn't give me a flag to buy, let it go here. And then we're looking for the downside. And then we'll probably trade it up and down until it breaks out. CAD. So CAD last week, we were looking at it. And remember I said they all make that spike and then start the downside. We showed you that on all the patterns, if you remember. Here, they make the spike, they came down, they made the spike, they came down. They had some consolidation. This had a nice running flat here. See this running flat? Looks like we're repeating that running flat pattern here. Probably come back here and then drop. So it's going up, but I don't think it's going up to break out, right? It's going up to probably, make a running flat and then drop. So I'll be careful. If you're in any buys, you have to be careful. If it breaks out of this structure here and make a flag, only then we will buy. Once it comes to the top and start to go down, we will look for a sell setup, right? We'll look for a sell setup. We're in a big sideways move right now, but they can come and tag the low because CAD did that 3 times already. I hope it breaks out this time, but we did that 3 times already. Consolidate here, drop. Consolidate here, drop. Consolidate here, they can drop. Make a new one, we buy again. We'll sell it and we buy again. Let's see which one. If they stay sideways, that is very good news. If they stay sideways, it means the probability of it breaking out now for that daily correction is very big. Swiss, okay, you're kind of making a bigger flag here. Let's take this off. They made the flat, but it didn't break out. You have an entry order for a sell under the low. I told you last week we put that entry order for the sell here. If you go and check the webinar, we put an entry order for a sell because we didn't put this entry order for a sell, and we regret not doing that because this fell here. We're looking for a flat here, and then it should drop. It didn't give the flat. It drops. So we decided we put the entry order under low. Well, this one is actually making a correction. And this might just be a bigger correction here. Might be more like this. Kind of come here, go back here, come there, and then drop. So I don't think we're going anywhere. We're just making a deep correction and then downside. This one has a very big move to the downside. This one could be an impulse to the downside. If we think Aussie, New Zealand, Euro, they're all in some kind of a bigger correction right now, this is actually making an impulse to the downside. This is not correcting. So far, it looks very much like a big impulse that should come back and retest the low. So if there's anything you want to focus on trading this week, it should be this. Because when it drops really fast and really far, and then make corrections. So we're getting corrections here. I don't think this is all. I think this is coming here. You might get corrections, do this, come back here, go back there up, get a bigger flat pattern here, and then drop. Just trade it. If you find trade setups both up and down, take it, but make sure you're mostly on the downside, right? You want to get more on the downside of it. Yen, well, we bought yen and Friday, and we're buying yen again. Yen is the only one that I think looks upside. See, Swiss looks downside, but yen looks upside. That's it. That's just what we have, right? Now, could yen be just correcting to the upside? Could this is an entry order we have right now to buy. We'll manage that trade. Could this be coming all the way to break this top? That's the top we wanted to break. I showed you that many times in the daily. Or is it just making a correction to this top and then go back here and then go? Well, let me show you the last 3 corrections. See this one, we broke the top, then come back, then go. See this one, we broke the top, then come back, then go. I think, well, this one we didn't break the top, but we came all the way to the top. Came back down, went back to the top, then come down, then go. So which one of those variants we're making here? Well, I don't care. I'm buying it, right? I don't care which one. All of them tell me there's a possibility for it to come back to this top. Either continue to go if this is all the correction, and that could be all the correction. It continue to go, or they will come somewhere here, they'll go back down, and then go there. I'm okay with either. I'm buying, right? So we're buying the yen. And then we'll see. We're looking for sells on the Swiss. The Swiss is consolidating. We're looking for sells, but we're looking for buys on the yen. New Zealand, yen, probably stay out of this. Cad-Yen, buy setup. You're getting a buy setup actually, right? This is a nice running flat, and they're making a flat here. So this looks like a buy setup. On the 1 hour, you'll probably see it much better. Yep. You have a perfect flat. You have 1, 2, 3. We're looking for that move. This one we bought on Friday. That was Friday trade. You probably closed that there, take profit. You're looking for this trade up today. That should be the trade today. Swiss yen, stay out of it. It's long explanation. I don't want to waste time on it. Aussie yen, probably stay out of it. It's upside, but it's more complex of a pattern to get. So if you're going to look for a buy in the Aussie yen, you would have to wait for it to break out of this stop, make a flag, and then wait for it to come back here. Now, it's a little complex. That is why best thing to do is stay out of that pattern. Aussie CAD, we were expecting this pattern to break out, but then it drops lower. When it drops lower, the question you'd have to ask, is this some kind of a bigger correction in the making? That's a bigger 1, 2, 3, and we're going down. Really doesn't look so to me. It just looks like a deeper correction, right? So this is what you can do. If they correct here and make a flag, you'll have to sell. Once it drops, take profit because they'll pull back again. If it goes up, make a flag, we'll buy, and we'll hold on to this buy because the upside is bigger than the downside. So if you get a buy set up, we'll hold it for a longer period of time, maybe look for a bigger up move because you can come back all the way to the top. But the downside, you might just break the low and go back up. So the downside is very short. If you're going to go for the sell, just be aware. It has a sell set up in it right now in the 1 hour, but it looks like a short-term sell. There's a sell setup forming here, but this looks very short-term, which means it might just give you one drop like that. Take profit. If you take the trade, take profit. Aussie Swiss. So we're in the middle of this impulse, and we kind of make a move 1, 2, 3 down. You can look at this as a 1, 2, 3 up. I don't think it is because this piece looks not so sharp. So either we are making a more complex pattern in here, which means in time we'll have a number of waves here to fit all of these. I will tell you what the pattern is, right? Or either this is some kind of a contracting flat in the middle, which is not the best type of contracting flat, which would be this here, right? That contracting flat. This one was a regular flat here. So in that case, at this point here, we'll have to go back up, right? If you're making 1, 2, you have to make 3 similar to that, come back here and then go up. So there's an up move here, but it might end up going either like this one or this one. The first impulse will be sharp. So if you're getting a buy for the first impulse to the upside, take it. The first trade should be okay. The first couple trades in the first impulse up should be okay. So if this is the start of that impulse, you want to buy. If this goes lower here and break the low here, wait for a move up and then sell it for one more down, right? But the buy is the best one because the buy is a bigger trade to the upside. Aussie, New Zealand, told you got to stay away from this one. It still is upside, right? That's just becoming a big corrective structure now, which means we might not get all the way to the top there. Let me take this off. That means that if this stays as flat as it is, right here, you're just going to do this and get one more down. That is what it's telling us. Where would that one more down put us? Nowhere. Still doesn't give us a clue. It could still go back up or it could fall. If it falls, we'll have to figure out where to put this because we don't have anything to put that with right now. I don't think it's with this one. Can we look at it this way? There might be a way you want to look at it as a contracting flat. Not very good as a contracting flat. But if this does this and start to fall, we will consider whether this is all for downside and whether we are ready for the total downside. If that is the case, could it be they're trying to go down totally from this point, from here, right? Could it be that this is all the correction? We're totally coming back to the low. And this is the top of the impulse. It's shorter than I thought it would be, but it's possible. Right? It's possible that this could be all the impulse, and that's the running flat. And this is coming down totally. So let's take this. We'll keep an eye on it because if it really starts to fall, the downside would be sharp. We might want to take a look at it. So on the 4 hour, let's see what happens here, and then we'll decide if it's a long-term downside trade. Let me pull this trend up just to give us a clue when we're breaking out of the structure itself. We're still in the structure. Too early to call it. Let's go. EuroCAD. Upside, we're consolidating, looks more upside. Right, so we got the first trade there, we close it in this one. We're looking for the next trade. This one here is a bigger flat, so you might want to wait for a flag somewhere here before you buy. Because that's a flat, that's not a flag. Sorry. So you might want to wait for a confirmation of a flag before you go for the buy. Right? Euro pound. We got some nice trades in this, and we got 3 break-evens trying to sell it, right? So the first sell we didn't get, we put an entry order here that didn't tag. The second sell we didn't tag. This sell we got tagged, and this will become a break-even or a small loss, depending on when you close it, right? Some traders closed it on Friday for a break-even. Some traders might have kept a little, then they would close it here. Once you see that, you'll close it there. So we're still looking for the downside. Now, this doesn't look like the downside anymore because we're making a flat here, right? We made a flat here. You're making 1, you're making 2, you probably make 3, you might get 1 more up. We can buy it. I think we could still buy this if we see that pattern. We'll go for the buy. 1 impulse up, take profit, and we start looking for the downside because eventually it will go down. Eventually, this pattern might prove itself correct, right? If we're wrong about that, this one is going to go up totally, so we'll take the buy, right? If we're wrong about that flat, let's just make an assumption and this is a contracting flat. I don't like contracting flats. But if that is a contracting flat and this one is coming down and now we are going up, we're not going up for this impulse, then we're going up for a bigger impulse, which would be going up for this impulse back to this top or back to that top, depending on which impulse you want to look for. I think I'd look for just coming back to the upside here and then down, right? So what we would look for here is if we get buys, we'll take them. The buys we'll take with caution. If we get sell, we'll take it and keep it to break this low. The buys, every time you get an impulse, you'll have to take the profit. So if you get a buy setup, 1 impulse, take profit. Don't keep it for a longer term until we can prove the longer term. Euro in New Zealand. Okay, you're getting a sell setup. Might be a short-term trade, but it's worth taking. A short-term sell setup forming there. It's a sell setup until it breaks the top or until it goes higher, right? I like it because we have the big flat here. We broke the top. We have divergence. I like the sell. Keep an eye on this one. If this goes way back to the top, we'll cancel the buy and we'll look for cancel the sell and look for a buy when it comes. It will come back down, but it'll come back down as a flat. So this sell setup is out, and we look for 1 more buy, right? If they do that, but if it falls from where it is here right now, I'm gonna put it in the 15 so you can see the internals of that. This is the one I'm looking for. This piece, right? So if it just comes to like about this level here and then drop, that's a good sell. It doesn't matter whether it just breaks the low, probably come here and then go back up. You can get break even out of it, right? But because of where we are in the bigger structure, it could fall, right? Because of where we are in this bigger structure, this thing could start to drop really nice. And that would be a good trade. So keep your eyes on it. Put this for a sell. Euro yen. We're consolidating. You probably want to leave it while it consolidates in here. Probably do some more of this and then go. Just consolidate in the 1 hour. If you want to sell it, you'll have to be very careful. I think we're just making some consolidation. We're not turning it yet. It doesn't look anywhere. It looks still upside. Euro Swiss. We broke the low. So the question is, if this is an equivalent, if this here is the equivalent of this. So remember I showed you this pattern and told you, when you make this, it's going to go back down and come and tag this low. And then we're looking for, once that happens, we're looking for this impulse to the upside. So if we get a buy setup, I'll go for it. We don't have a buy setup. What we're likely getting is more like a sell setup. This one actually came very low. See? So I would probably consider this a flat. 1 more down and then start to look for the buy setup. I'm not interested in this sell. I don't think it's going to go very far. Let it break the low. Let it give me a buy setup that I'll start buying. Euros. Okay, so this one is kind of weird in that we have this, we have this, we have this, and now we're getting this. Now, if you understand what I'm trying to show you, there's a series of impulses. If you go with this as the correction, we didn't break the top. That's a problem. You can either look at this as a contracting flat. If it is a contracting flat, this has to fall. You can't break the top again. So that negates the contracting flat, right? Just a lesson in patterns. Second thing is, if you look at this as an expanding flat, then this needs to go down, right? If you look at this as, I don't know, if this is all the wave, we need to go down. So there's a number of ways you can look at this. None of them is fitting, which means there's an incomplete pattern right now. The bigger pattern is incomplete. The smaller patterns, we see them. The buys, the sells, you see them. If you're following me, you will know where the buys and sells. We've been showing them all the time. But the whole pattern is incomplete. And now we're doing this. We have 1, 2, 3. I think this would come back here for 4. Right? This would pull back here. And then we could probably go up some more. So there might be a flat forming here. This will probably come back to this level if it makes a flat, go up one more, and then we'll look for the downside, which means we'll look for this now. Let it make one piece at a time. If you want to trade it, look for one piece at a time. So right now you're expecting, I don't know whether this is a running flat. If this is a running flat, then we'll break the top and then come down. If it is not a running flat, you're going to drop from here and then go back up. So right now that piece looks like a running flat. So I would assume that they'll go break the top slowly. Break this top. It's not very far. It's not a buy setup. Just ignore that. And then look for a sell setup once it does that. On CAD, this one is really, really tricking us, right? Because it is supposed to come, we expect that it's going to make a flat 1, 2, 3, go back to the top, and then we will either buy and we'll sell it back to this level. Now we have a running flat. So darn, we should have sold it or kept this one. This was our first sell. No, the first sell was here. So we sold a number of ones there. And this one coming in, I didn't sell it because I thought they'll just come to about this level, go there, and then come. Now that is a regular flat pattern. Now they made 1, 2, 3 in the middle. 1, 2, 3. We saw that 2. We saw the 3 coming down. We just didn't think it's going to come break the low. It broke the low. Congratulations. You want to move up now, and then the move down. So if we get a buy setup here, we could take it because that's going to be a very nice impulse to the upside, which would be similar to this impulse, right? Now, can this go much deeper before you get that? Yes, if you get a flag, it could drop. You get a flag, it could drop. You get a flag, it could drop, and then they do this, and then they drop. This would be a running flat. So if you get sell setup, you can also take it because we know they're coming here, and we don't know how long drawn out that running flat would be, and that's the problem with running flat, and that they can be long drawn out. So you should take the trade. If we get sell setups, we'll take it. If we get buy setups, we'll take it. So the sell setups will be making a running flat, which means continuing this move to the downside. One impulse, take profit. Every impulse you get. So if this becomes a consolidation, it drops, we take this trade, it dropped like this, you start to consolidate, you take profit. Because at any point in time, they can make a sharp move up and then start to drop. And the sharp move will be something like this. See that sharp move there? Just go up, come down back. I hope they go up today from here. I'm hoping this goes up today from here, even if I don't get a buy, because then we will sell this down. We'll get a buy setup in here. You'll get a trade. Right? You'll definitely get a setup for a trade. And then we'll see what it is. Well, we know what this is doing. The bigger picture, you know what it's doing, right? And it's actually proving exactly what we told it's going to do based on the pattern we expect, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you're following me, 1, 2, 3. And then upside again, because we still have this one. And then downside, because we still have this one. And then from there, it's either total downside or it's one more up. Once the pattern is complete, we will see. Pangos also consolidating, looks like still more upside. We're consolidating in this piece upside. Let's see, we got a sell setup last week. See that sell setup, a nice one we have there last week. Very good sell setup. We had a second sell setup here. Right now it looks like a buy. Starting to look like a buy forming here. See this? Starting to look like we're going to get a buy to the upside today. So let's see if we get that trade. It could go up again. Very much make even a new high. In the bigger picture, you can see that. Like we were expecting this to go sharp to the top and then come. They pull back. They could do this. You could pull back here. And you could go again all the way to the top here. Or they could go slowly and then come back here. So once this is finished, you're going to go down. But for now, it looks like a buy setup for today. So this whole week, we can end up going back up. We came down last week. We can go up this week. On New Zealand, more of a sell setup. So Pound New Zealand, you have to watch this. This has a very, very big structure. See this? We're breaking out. We've got 1, 2, 3. This could be coming down here all the way. All right, if it's coming down, that's a good one, right? So let's see if we're coming down. Go for. I think this was the problem, this piece here. I thought they would go back up from here and then drop. Well, they didn't do that. They actually keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. So this might still give you one more down. But we might get this piece. It's not necessary that you get that because that could be a standalone correction. But there's a good chance you could get this and then they drop. So you have to be aware of the possibility of it happening, not necessarily it will happen. And then we'll go to the 1 hour and look for sell setups. Wait for this to probably go back here. Let it start to drop. Any flag we get on the downside will sell or a flag under here. So if it makes a new high, any flag, you get your selling. You're not looking for the buy, you're looking for the sell. Pound Swiss. Okay, so the question now is this a big running flat? Remember I told you there's a good chance we're going to get this. So is that move? If that is that move, then we're going to go up one more. If it is not that move, then we have to figure out where the hell we put this one, because there's nothing to put it with. At least not as yet that I see. So I'm hoping we will get the one up, because I'm not going to be selling it at the bottom here. I'll rather sell the pound CAD. I'll rather sell anything else, but not the pound Swiss. Right? Because this doesn't look like it's the one. Although we know dollar Swiss has a lot of downside to go. Let's see what happens in here. If this consolidates a lot here, if we get a lot of consolidation here, confirming a downside, will sell, at least for one impulse. But if they give us a buy setup, we'll absolutely take it. So whether it's a pound or whether it's Swiss, if you get a buy setup here, it's a trade you should take. So we'll go for it if we don't have any buy setup as yet. Pound yen. This could totally go down from here. So what we'd like to see is a big consolidation. I think they made a move up. They made a move down. Let's see if we get another move up, or if they make something like this, a bigger consolidation, that would be a perfect sell setup. All right, the more they consolidate there, the better for us. So in the 1 hour, well, not much. Looks like we will get another sharp move up, right? At least this here tells you that you might eventually get a move up. They might stay here for a while, consolidate, come back here, go back there, you know, and then make a much long drawn out correction. But this would be, keep an eye on this. You could trade it up and down and then look for the bigger move down. New Zealand Swiss, just going, I think we might have completed this one, right? We're looking for this move down. This pattern is perfect. We showed you step by step what we think it's going to do. Remember when all of this was happening? 1, 1, 2, 3. One down. I think we broke the low. So at any time, this could look upside. At any point in time, that could go right back up. So keep an eye on it. It doesn't have a buy setup as yet. I don't think so. Well, maybe you're getting a buy setup here. See, we didn't break the low, so it could be a buy setup. Keep an eye on that one. New Zealand CAD. Okay, this one is just going to correct quite a lot more. So I think we'll be careful. We can either put this on there. So you remember we got this 1, 2, 3 here. We got a 1, 2, 3 there. So this, if you look at that as some kind of a running flat there, you're likely going to go back up. But it could also go back up like that. So not the best one to trade. CAD Swiss. Okay, so we've got the big flat. What happens now? Nothing. Probably stay away, because this is looking more like a correction for upside. If we assume that this was a channel down, let's assume that this is not making a big flat, but that was a channel down with smaller impulses, right? Kind of a small drop, correction, small drop, correction, small drop, correction, small drop. This is making a flat here. And if you get that, then that is upside. Let's see the bigger picture, how far this could go if it goes up. There is no particular place to the upside that we're looking for. Nope, just a consolidation. If that goes up, it will just be more of a consolidation. Sorry, take that up. So it looks upside. This piece here looks upside, but it will be more of a consolidation maybe. I don't think it's this move down is going to correct itself. Not the best buy, we'll see. Copper. It still hasn't broken the top, so the sell setup is, I wouldn't go for the sellers yet, not until we break this top. All right, let's break that top and then we'll look for the sell. US oil. So US oil, let me give you the fast one on US oil so you can have an idea what we're looking for. So we've got this big move up. See this really huge move up here with a correction there. Now you can look at two things. Either we're making a bigger correction here, or we're literally trying to come back down. Or we're making a much bigger correction here and then go. That 3 ways. One is making correction here and go, make a big correction, then go, or come back to the low. So what you're going to do is you're going to go step by step and see which one. I think most likely a bigger correction. That's my view. Because what we have is an impulse down. We've got to move down. And we're literally consolidating here. See? That means that's downside. See this consolidation? That's upside. See this consolidation? That's upside. We're consolidating here for downside. Now let's go look at the hourly trade. And the range of consolidation, I would say, I'll put a line here just above this top, right? That's the range of consolidation. So the question is, can you trade in that range? Well, if you got a perfect setup, it would be good to trade, but you're not getting perfect setup. So this thing could go here, but it might go really slow because this will be a 1, 2, 3. You might come back down here. You might go back up there. Then you might drop here, go back, so it could stay there for a long time. I wouldn't advise trading in this zone. Let it come out of it, make a flag, and then we sell. If you get a flag at the top, sell. Buying it to the top could be dangerous because it's not making any, look at this consolidation here. It's huge. So we're like making a lot of consolidations, which you have to be careful of. Same here. See? We're looking for the buy setup, but it's still making sideways move. It's still going sideways here. So it might still go up, but it will not go very far because this is a short impulse. And which means we're going to come back down, and which means we're going to go back up. So you could go up, drop, go back up. That's a lot of, risky trades you'll be taking. Natural gas. Okay, very likely you're going to get a final drop. See this here? Very likely you might get this final drop to the low. If you get it, it's a good trade. If they go up, ignore it. But, you wouldn't buy now. You buy much later. But if you get this drop, that's a good sell. Break the low, and then we start look for upside. I've been showing you that they have to break that low for a while now, and that is very simple. We would like this to come here, break the low, and then start to go back up. It's easy, right? How far beyond that low they go, it doesn't matter. They could go a little beyond, a little further, but it's a buy you're looking for. You started? Still going up, right? So let's look on the 1 hour and see what trade setups you get. Still up. Yeah, you're still consolidating again. See? This was the up last week. This might be starting another consolidation like this. This might be starting another consolidation here and another move up. If you get another consolidation, that's a move up. That's one move up. You have to be careful with these because at any time they will start to fall. All right, so you take one trade at a time. Same here. See, this was a short sell. It dropped. It go back up. You got this. You're getting a consolidation here for upside. One move at a time. Take your impulse up. Take your profit. I would not keep this at these highs for long term. We're already at the highs. You don't want to go when you're at the top there for long term. Right? As a matter of fact, this one is way at the top here. At some point, this thing is going to come. It could break the top, make a running flat, and then come here and then go back up. Definitely looks upside now. Once you finish that, it's upside. See this one here? You got 1, 2, 3, upside. So let's see this week you should get that downside. This week the downside will come, maybe just break the top and then come down. S&P 500, same thing. Set a high. See? At some point you start to get a drop. Either a big one, a small one like that, or a big one like this is possible. So you start watching this as you go to high. Every move, every buy you take becomes the last one, which means you take the profit off, wait for a pullback, take the profit off, wait for a pullback, take the profit off, wait for a pullback. And you can still buy, but don't keep the trades. Don't hold it as long-term trades because they're not going. Once we get sell setup, we'll go for it. You're not getting any sell setups yet. DAX, sideways. You're getting some sideways move here. Kind of like this. You could get this, and then one down and then up. This would be sideways for downside and then up. That would be a flat. You might want to go for the sell. It's short term, but you could get a nice trade before you close it and then upside. AU 200. You're getting a flag actually for upside. So that might be one more up. This never give us the one. Give us 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but never give us a bigger 1, 2, 3 down. And that's strange because this big flat in the middle here is not normally what you see in an impulse, right? Because remember I said we thought we were going to get one more down here and then go within this flat. But they've gone without that one more down. We'll still be careful because that one more down is very possible. Now this thing has to go and break this top. In the big picture, we're expecting it to go and break this top, and you can see why, right? This move is part of a big running flat in the past. Huge running flat. Let me see if we can find it here in the weekly. Oh, you can find it here, right? So these two impulses part of a huge running flat pattern. So this has to go up a lot more, and then it will come down. So there are buy setups, take the buy setups. And you're getting a buy setup right now. So take it. Maybe that's all. We're not going to have more of the consolidation. Maybe this piece is all the consolidation. This here is all the consolidation, and this is just a big flat in the impulse, which is rare. Normally, this would make a small one and go, a small one and go, like this small one and go. You don't get a big one in the middle there, but if it could happen, it just normally don't happen. Nifty, it's consolidating more, so eventually this consolidation here might go up. Right? This right now, this is starting to look like it's going to drop again and then go back up. I don't think it's starting an impulse to the downside because you're getting a lot of consolidation here. Tesla, upside, still more buys, right? This is pulling back here, but that should be more buy setups. A little more buy and then the downside. At least we need to break this top. So one more impulse up at least before you get downside, right? So this would go like more, it would probably break this top here, and then you could start to look for downside because you're going to have 1, 2, 3. Amazon, perfect, right? Works like magic. By the way, if you want to know what these lines are, these lines were here since we were here. That was when this was in, not December, in January, somewhere in January here. Yep, January somewhere, January 18th. Go back to January 18th when I started doing those free webinars, and you would see that we draw these lines, and I said I'll keep them there to show you that the patterns work. The only thing we have done with the lines is we have shifted them sideways more this way, right? The up and down strays, but because you have a consolidation, we had a sharp line here and a sharp line here, but because of the consolidation, the line needs to be shifted like this consolidation. We shift the line slightly, right? The same amount of lines are still there. You can go back and you can take them piece by pieces and back. So I remember the first one we had was this one making 1, 2, 3 here. Then we had this to come and break this top. We had this for the downside. We took off this one because that's finished. We take off this. We can take off this one because we still expect one more down and then one more up. You will see whether it works. It's a buy until you break that top. When you break the top, then we will see what happens. Again, and I repeat this, I don't know how many of you watched to this level, but it's not magic. And it's not inside information. Nobody's telling me what Amazon is doing as a company. But you know what is telling me what Amazon is doing as a company? The chart is telling me what Amazon is doing as a company, or how Amazon is doing as a company. So that is how you can make these forecasts, because you watch for what it's doing and you said, okay, what patterns do I see? Okay, if this comes here, what should it do next based on the patterns you have right now? If you're correct about the patterns, you could be wrong. Every now and then I get the pattern wrong, especially when you're contracting flats in play. That's okay. It's human. You're all good. Every now and then you're going to get 1 or 2 patterns wrong. Don't go over yourself with that and don't worry about it. But most times you will get it right. And when you get it right, you take advantage of it. When you get it wrong, well, let it go. You thought it's a buy and it goes for a sell. You're not in the trade. That's not your problem, right? Your problem is if you wanted to buy this and you didn't buy it, now you have a problem. If you wanted to buy it and it dropped here, let it drop. You're not in the trade. But if you're looking for a buy, then you should be in that trade. So it's always taking advantage of the trades that go your way, not the ones that don't go. It should come back here and then go up. Let's see. SLR. This dropped. Go back up. It was going up since last week. I think be careful with the upside because I told you they're making 1, 2, 3, and then they drop 1, 2, 3, and then it's dropped. So look for sell setups. I think today you should look for sell setups here. If you get a flag, sell it. If you get a flag here today, sell it. Okay, this is BAJ Finance. Okay, it dropped quite a lot. I thought this would just stay within the range, come back here, then go. So there was a flag, but I didn't see that drop coming. Thought it would drop shorter. If they drop that much, that means we could be changing direction. If they drop that much, this one is actually going to come back to this level. Look for this pattern. Now you still have sells. Any pullback now would be a sell setup to this level because it actually dropped out of that structure to the upside. So they're confirming downside for us. Reliance, more downside. eventually we'll break this low. So this one will be the equivalent of this. All right, they'll come break the low, and then you can look for upside because this looks very much like a flat. So, well, some more down. And PayPal. PayPal has gone up a little higher, which is good. Once you break the top, you don't know how high it's going to go. So how high will PayPal go? We have an impulse here. We have 1, 2, 3. At any time, this could still go. It could even come all the way to the top. But the flatness of this piece means it might not go that far. And then downside. So if you're in the buy, you just have to move your stops. You have to, depending on how you buy it and what you're buying and where you're buying, just be ready to sell anytime. Because I doubt we're going to break the top. We could break the top here for running flat. But because of the depth that this one went, most times those patterns don't break the top. They kind of come a little here and then drop. So keep your eyes on it. Be ready for the sell if you get it. Okay, let's do crypto very fast and then we'll call it a day on that. Let's go. Bitcoin broke out finally, so you got it. If you were looking for the trade, your entry order should have been here and you should be in the trade. I hope you got out. I hope you're still not in the trade, but if you're still in, take some profit because you're consolidating again. See, this piece looks like a consolidation, might still come back here, then go. See, kind of a consolidation. They could break the top a little. I don't think it's going to take off because this could be all the consolidation. Here's the problem. I don't like this consolidation as an impulse. So this might be a 1, 2, 3, come back here, and then this could be upside. Right? It broke the top, so watch it on the 4-hour. We broke the top, so if we want to go down, come on. Yeah, it broke the top, so if they want to go down some more to come back to this low here, it's possible. If they want to come back for this one down, one more here, that is possible. Right? As a running flat pattern. But right now you're getting a buy setup. Right now this is starting to look like a buy setup for one more impulse up. You see it's struggling to go up. There is no momentum in the trade anymore. What that is telling us? That is telling us not a lot of buys are coming in. Not everybody wants to buy it at this price. And that means you have to look for an exit strategy. Nobody wants to buy it at that price. You have to look to exit. Maybe you can buy back lower. Maybe they'll probably come and they'll drop to this level here, give you a big running flat here, and then go back up. Maybe better to look for an exit strategy early so that you're not the last person to exit in that 40 something, price drop. Then go back up. So start watching this very carefully and think about an exit strategy. What if it goes a little higher? What would that bother you if you already take the maximum profit out of it for yourself? It will pull back, that's for sure. Right now, it's looking like it can go a little more. I don't have any doubts about that because this piece is consolidating. They can do this, they can do that, they can do this, and then they can go. Looks like they can do that. Just like this piece was showing upside. XRP. XRP went up a little more, so let's see what the bigger picture is telling us. It went quite high, higher than we thought we were going to go because we're not getting this pullback. Right? We're not getting this 1, 2, 3 down. And we still have this big flat in here. So at some point you'll get it. It always looks like you don't get it until you get it. So at some point, except we're not going to come so low now. I don't think we're going to come back to that low. We're going to probably get this, but we'll get it to the top here. So it's going to be more like this. And then go. See? It's going to be more like that if you get it. Very likely you should get it. I don't see any reason why that pullback shouldn't happen. If you look back in the past, you always get it, except it takes a while to come. So here is this one. See how long this went before you get that? You still get it. Right. This one is sharp. This one is not slow. And that's a little different from the previous ones. But the previous ones, you had sharp ones inside. For example, this one, if you take this, see that move there? Look how sharp this came down. Before this go back up, you get that one. And then you came down. Then you get another one here. See? So we're making one of this sharp one here, replicating that sharp one. So at some point you will get a pullback. If you're in a trade, if you're long term, you don't have to worry about that because it will go back up. Once that flat is confirmed, it's going to go back up on the shorter time frame. Okay, in the shorter time frame, this didn't break. So this, you can probably go with that small one there. This kind of go up. This was a buy setup on the shorter time frame. If you're trading the shorter one, right now you'd probably get sell setup here. Look for a sell setup here. It will be short term, and then they can go more, or this can start to drop. So on the shorter time frame, it's up and down. Look for a sell today. The longer time frame is upside. Except you're not going to get 11 again now. 11 is gone. Sorry. 11 there is gone. 20 is gone. 40. You might get up to about 60. You might get 90 here. That's the closest it's come back to 90 something. So if you're buying for long term, good. If you're buying for short term, you get in and out very often. Let's see where this is going. Kind of looking like a consolidation here for one more down, but it's still upside because you already have this pattern here, so this could still go back up more. Short-term consolidation. You're just consolidating sideways here. So this one is more downside. You broke this, you're breaking this, you probably come here, and then upside. You're getting a big consolidation here. Just a big consolidation for upside. Linked USD. This is downside. So you got this whole pattern. See this whole piece here? It's going to come back a little here before they go. This will be a bigger flat like that. Most likely you'll get that pattern. Can we look at this as a possible running flat? Let's say this piece is a possible running flat. If that's the case, then this one is going to work its way up slowly like that. All right, if you look at this as a possible running flat, then they will work their way up like this slowly. All right, so you get a flag, you buy, pull back, you get a flag, you buy, pull back, you get a flag, you buy. What's the bigger picture in this? Let's see in the day 4 hour. Bigger picture will still be downside. Even when you break this flat, when you break that top there, when you break this top, the bigger picture is still downside because this big picture here, we don't have anything for this sharp move down. We don't have anything for this. So what you're doing is correcting this one here, and then eventually you'll come here and then go back up. Something like that, then go back up. ETH, here also we don't have anything for this one. So eventually this is going to give you a pullback and then go. What is the present trade now on the upside? You broke the top, so you had a running flat here for upside. Had a flag here for a buy. You're getting a bigger one here. You're going to come here, go back there, come there to see 1, 2, 3. Come back here and then go. It's still a buy setup for now. Short-term buys. Well, you can take the buys and hold them for a while, but remember this would still come back. So if you can get up before this happens, that would be good. You'll save yourself a lot of headache. It will still go back up if you're very long term. I mean, if you're investing in this pull move, this down move should not bother you because it'll go right back up. All you'll have is a big flat here whenever that happens. Right, it will happen. Eventually, they might go slow, and then drop. So what if they drop now? Just be ready for the sell. Wait for this to break out and go for the sell. But that could be a flag for upside. That doesn't necessarily mean the sell. It might just drop like this and go back up. Right? Give you a flat here and then upside. So it's up to you when that is going to drop. You can take any sell and hope see if that is the one dropping. Okay, let's go. Dash. What is Dash giving us? Dash has the same pattern. I don't think this is a complete flat of its own because this one is too sharp. So what that would be 1, 2, 3. This one is going to come back here and then go. So is it ready for the downside or are we going to go up more? Well, right now it's just crawling up. Right, this piece is just crawling up. Eventually you get it dropped. This might just give you a flat though. This could give you 1, 2, 3 here and then go back up. So if you take the sell, just try to put it to break even before it goes back up. But you're going to get one. All of them have that possibility for this one more down and then go. So sometime maybe this week we get that drop. Maybe next week. There's a drop coming. Just be careful. And then upside. These drops are sudden. This is a flat. So you're getting a small flat here, by the way. Go up, come back here, and then go. This is a small one. This is not a big one. Right, that's a very small one forming there. The 1 hour, you can see that. you're going to get this. You're already getting the consolidation here. Go up like this and then come back here and then go complete that flat pattern. LTC. Okay, this also has one that's incomplete for a running flat. Now it's not a running. Now it's not a regular flat. We thought this could come here for a regular flat. We go up, break the top. It's a running flat. It will still come. Maybe go a little more come. Maybe go a little more come. You'll get this here, and then the upside. So if you get buy setups, you have to take it. But like, let's say you took this buy here, you would take your profit off. If you take this buy here or this buy here, take your profit off because this could drop. Right? You don't know when the drop is going to come. It will come. And the drop would be something more like this. So let's say the first drop would be like this. You'd want to put it, well, let's see. It doesn't necessarily have to be here. But if this one is going to drop, you want that trade. What if it goes higher, then it will be a flat. They will go one more up. Right? If they go higher, be a flat, one more up. And then you wait for the drop again. Okay. This one is not necessarily going to drop because this one is, you already had the top, they already pulled back, and this one is going up more. Just go, pull back, go, pull back, go. This is a weird movement. It could do this for a while. Let's see how did they come up earlier before they did. How does it move basically? No, it actually moves well. It moves very sharp. So this is still corrective. Although it can go, I still think we're in a correction here. So this is a correction, work its way to the top, and then come back here. You're still in a corrective structure. It's not the impulse going up. The impulse are moving I thought that's how they move. But no, you can see they move very fast when they're making impulses. So what you're still probably in this range of correction for a much more complex corrective structure, which means you're going to be here for a longer while within this range. You're going to be here for a longer while before they break out. So once they consolidate to the top here, they'll probably come here, come back down, go back up, probably come back down, and then go. You'll get a complex pattern in here, and then the upside. So if you want to buy within that range, that's good. If you expect it to go up a lot. Okay. So that's it for the ones I have. I think I'll put one more this week for you guys. Maybe Wednesday I'll do an update. There's one more that a lot of people are asking for. I'll probably put it on. So trade with care. And if you like it, share it. I would see all of you later. I'll see my traders in a couple of minutes once I close this. Once I close the recording. So have a good week ahead of you guys. Maybe I'll put an update on Wednesday. Take care. See you. Bye bye.